Hi there, welcome to the next episode of The Social Lockdown. My name is Ryan Paul Troy, the Yorkshire filmmaker, and today I'm joined by Mr. Ollie Button. How are you doing, buddy?
Now then, buddy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. So, introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are and what you're doing on my screen.
So, my name's Ollie Button, as Raj just said. I'm a drummer from Ilkley. I play guitar as well, a bit of piano, but drumming is primarily what I do. So, yeah, good to join you today, pal.
No, thank you. So, as you say, you're a bit of a music buff, as it sounds. So what first got you into music? What got that sort of inspiration started?
I mean, my entire family is very, very musical. We've got actors, musicians. My brother's a singer. My mum and dad both sing. So, from an early age, I've always been surrounded by theatre and musicals, and it probably stemmed from when I was in probably 6 to 7 or 8. My dad would always have Queen's Greatest Hits on in the car, and whenever we went anywhere, that was on. And didn't really mean anything at the time, but having grown up in and around that atmosphere, it was kind of always present in some format. So there was always some sort of music going on in the house, whether it was something from a West End show or something from Queen's, the Game album. It could have been anything from rock and roll to kind of Cats the musical or Joseph and the Dreamcoat or stuff like that. So it's kind of just always been around.
Mix, then.
Yeah.
So that's what you want, though, because sometimes you always see that that people are always like, oh yeah, listen to rock and just rock, But sometimes you've got to open your mind a little bit, I think, and being able to listen to different things all the time. I think that can obviously help inspire different styles and different genres of music. So you said that you play drums. Is that like your main instrument then?
Yeah, I started. The first instrument I played was a guitar. I had guitar lessons when I was about 7 or 8, maybe.
Right.
And I have a distinct memory of being told off by the guitar teacher at the time because whilst he was instructing me, I was constantly tapping on the body of the guitar and driving him and the rest of the pupils in my lessons insane. And I remember he said to me, I think you need to get yourself a drum kit rather than a guitar. And at the time, it was kind of, I kind of like playing guitar, but I was always tapping on stuff and, tapping along to songs that I was listening to at the time. So when I was about 7 or 8, my parents got me a little, one of those really crappy little toy drum kits from Toys R Us or Argos or somewhere like that. And I played that thing every day for months until the point where all of it was broken. All the skins were ripped because I was playing it that much and hitting it that hard. So that was, so I was probably 5 or 6 or 7 when I started playing drums. So
all right, so it's been quite a few
20 years, yeah.
Bloody hell. So who inspired you to start making music?
I don't know if I can pinpoint it on someone rather than a something. As I say, my whole family is kind of is very musical. There's always some sort of music going on in the house all the time.
Yeah.
You've got an array of different things, everybody listening to different things. It probably stems from, not that I knew it at the time, but when I was in primary school, me and my friends used to just stand in his bedroom and listen to like Alice Cooper and Scorpions and Led Zeppelin. And at the time, it was kind of, that kind of genre of rock was not common among primary school kids, but it was my mate's dad who had I think he had Coda by Led Zeppelin and the No More Mr. Nice Guy album that Alice Cooper did. And we literally just used to stand there in his room proudly and listen to these horribly heavy rock songs that for some reason we kind of really enjoyed. And we'd always wait for the guitar solo in Stairway to Heaven, and we'd just stand there just appreciating whatever it was that our 10-year-old minds were hearing at that time. But I think that's kind of the early memory of wanting to kind of do what they were doing, I guess.
All right, okay.
And so, kind of, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead, mate.
No. Sometimes it's a bit odd with this because you don't know when, because you don't know if it's going to be delayed or anything.
Yeah, I know.
So obviously, if you'd like to describe what type of, because I know that you're in a covers band as well. But what sort of music do you typically like to create yourself then?
Well, it's probably over the last sort of 4 or 5 years really that I've started to kind of find whatever sound it is that would maybe define whatever it, if you had to put a label on it, it's probably not what people would expect me to write, given the kind of music that I listen to, and obviously the foods and stuff. So
Hmm.
I kind of just, I've never set about to write anything in a certain way. I've never kind of thought I want to write something which sounds like this. It kind of just, I write whatever my hands are doing on a guitar, or whatever lyrics I've written down about something. And it's kind of probably, it's a more it's probably a more chilled out thing than what people might label me as,
Yeah, yeah.
from my affinity with rock music and stuff. But I think it's kind of chilled out, but it's kind of got its own thing. There's some stuff that I write which can be a bit heavier, but a lot of it's kind of based around an acoustic guitar, or something that I've stumbled on a piano. And the drums, despite them being my primary instrument, actually usually end up coming along much later down the line, because it's hard to write a melody around a drum track unless you've
Yeah,
got
no, of course,
something
yeah.
like "We Will Rock You" in your locker, like something that Queen had. It's primarily kind of based around a guitar or a vocal idea, and then it kind of just snowballs from that usually.
Fair enough. So, so what sort of creative process do you have when you're making music? Because I've spoken to people in the past that they can't actually start writing unless they're sat down and they've got a certain sandwich sat in front of them and like, right, I'm gonna start writing now. So, do you have some sort of like weird process, or is it just literally just like you say, pick up your guitar and it just comes?
Yeah, I mean, I think I go through phases really. I can that the term writer's block is not a term to be underestimated. It can, some days you can really want to sit down and be productive, but you can just stare at a blank page of a lyric book, or look at your guitar like it's an alien for 3 hours, and just not have any clue what to do. And then sometimes you could be in the shower, or walking down the street, and all of a sudden you have something in your head, and my phone's full of thousands of voice recordings of me humming along nonsensical rubbish into my microphone, just like, oh, this will be really good. And then 3 hours later, I'm like, what on earth is this? Um, but no, I don't. There's not really a process as such. It usually starts with a guitar, or a lyric idea that I've had, which I can find a sort of tune for in my head, or um, I wouldn't pin it to anything in specific. You mentioned people having sandwiches. That's crazy. I think as long as I've had coffee at some point in the day before I start writing, then my brain's pretty in gear. So
Coffee is always a good sign. I'm a massive coffee buff, me, and I drink
yeah,
all sorts of different flavors coffee, and it's mental. I couldn't
makes you
do this
feel better.
before. Answer that way.
Yeah, you can conquer the day once you've had a good coffee, can't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. So obviously you've got your own covers band and stuff like that. You do a lot of collaborating with artists as it is. But if you could choose absolutely anyone to do a collaboration track with at any point, whether they be alive, dead, or what, who would it be and why?
Collaborate. Um, I mean, Dave Grohl's probably the coolest guy ever, isn't he? I'd love to do something with Dave Grohl, but then because he can play all the instruments, I don't really know where I'd fit into that equation. I'd probably end up playing triangle on one of his masterpiece songs or something. So probably, Dave Grohl. Dead, probably somebody. Freddie Mercury's a legend, but again, how do you keep up with somebody that can sing like
Well, yeah,
that?
true.
Yeah, I'd say probably Dave Grohl. He just, I think he would make you naturally feel like you were contributing something to the song, even if you did not need to be there whatsoever, because he can play every instrument 10 times better than you can. But yeah,
No,
I'd
no,
say
that's
probably
quite a
Dave
good
Grohl.
choice actually.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the answer's probably going to be quite a similar sort of thing. But if you could open a show for any artist whatsoever, who would it be?
Open a show. I don't think it would be Foo Fighters, just because
No.
I think I'd be too nervous. Knowing that they were probably somewhere around watching me play the drums would be pressure like no other. Two of the great drummers. Um, I'd say Biffy Clyro probably. I've met those guys
Oh,
before, and they're the sweetest guys ever. So I
yeah,
think
no, that's
opening a
quite a
show
good
for them
shout.
would be pretty awesome. Or somebody like Frank Turner, who's used to being an opening band, a guy himself. Even now, the pinnacle of his career, he's still doing kind of support slots for big bands and stuff. So
Yeah, Frank Turner,
I think,
though, is just another, like, my partner, she's just a massive Frank Turner fan. Really is. And I'd never even heard of him up until a few years ago. When I got with Beth, and then all of a sudden when we get married in August, hopefully after all this madness, we're gonna have one of his songs actually as a first dance song. So
what song is it?
There She Is.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Look, I've got his book.
Yeah, but she's been reading that as well.
I was reading it yesterday. I've read it before, but some of the tour stories that he has make everybody else look amateur.
It really does, and it's like, because one of the things that he says that I really like is that you could play it to a room of one person, or you could play it to a room of 1,000 people. But always play your best show.
Yeah,
and I like the way that he counts every single show he does as well, which it's really cool. So
some of them are a bit dubious. Like I saw him once at LCOM at Leeds College of Music, and he did like he headlined live at Leeds. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then after he played like 2 songs in the car park, and he classed that as one of the shows. I was like, it's loose, but I'll give you it, because he is like probably the most hardworking musician in the world at the moment. So
definitely.
We'll give him it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick short break, and we'll be back in a few moments.
Three words I would use to describe Boomerang Studios are interesting, exciting and engaging.
I spoke to someone, they recommended him, and within a few minutes of talking about ideas, I knew we'd found someone who could bring our crazy ideas to life.
Welcome back to this episode of The Social Lockdown. I'm Ryan Poulter, the Yorkshire filmmaker, and we're still joined by Ollie Button. So, first question. It's one of my favourites to ask. What is the most useless talent that you have?
The most useless talent I have is I can twirl a drumstick. It really is. It's like doing that really fast, and when you do it right, it looks amazing. And people are, how do you do that? And I'm like, you have no idea how easy it is to do. But how many people are baffled by how you can do it? It is the biggest cheat ever, and it's completely useless, but it looks cool.
And have you got a drumstick there to show us?
Yeah, I have. One sec. Here we go. I don't know how this is going to look on camera. It'll probably look rubbish now, and people will be like,
"Oh, wait a sec. That's just a lie, is that?"
So you literally kind of do that, and if you do it fast enough, it makes it look like
spinning it around in your hands.
You're not. You're just twirling it.
And the secret's out, guys. That's it. The secret of the drummer's twirl is out here on the Social Lockdown.
World exclusive, yeah.
So, what would you be doing right now if it wasn't for COVID-19? Now, a lot of people are obviously meant to be staying at home and keeping safe. Now, being a freelancer yourself, what is it that you would be usually doing around this sort of time? Or has nothing really changed for you?
I mean, in terms of my own stuff, nothing changes much, because I do everything pretty much sat where I am now. My guitar's to my left, my drum kit's behind me there, so I can do a lot of stuff pretty much in this room. But in terms of getting out and actually playing, everything's shut down because venues are shut, and tours have been put to a halt, and it's kind of weird. I think the bulk of what I do has been put on hold, but a lot of my own stuff is not really that much different in terms of I'm usually in my own little self-quarantine doing stuff in here anyway. So it's kind of just, the only difference is that I have to record at certain times because everybody else in the house is working from home and, floating about, not doing what they'd normally be doing. So that's kind of the only slight difference really, but nothing major.
So obviously you performed a lot over the years that you've been an artist. Where have you performed, and what is one of the most like rememberable places that you've recorded that you've performed, and why?
I mean, yeah, I've played Yorkshire has been pretty extensively played in. You know, been lucky to get sort of in around the country as well, and up to Scotland and over to Europe a couple of times. But show that stands out. It stands out because the show was a one-off. It was me and a couple of lads in the band. We formed a birthday party super group where we played for a good friend of ours' 50th birthday up in Scotland.
All right.
And we decided that we would go and be the band, and all they had to do was give us a set list, and we'd learn it, and we'd go play a show for them. But a couple of weeks into rehearsals, we decided that the set list that they'd given us, as much as it was good, we'd rather just kind of jam like Biffy Clyro, Queens of Stone Age songs, and just be a bit nerdy and play all the kind of B-sides that we didn't normally get to play. So
Yeah.
we went and did that in this, I don't even know what it was. It was kind of a live music venue, but it was more like just, we walked into the room and it was like, how are we going to put a gig on in here? It was like a sloped ceiling. My drum kit was like, my head was like that far off the roof. The sound was terrible. Thankfully, I had my stepdad with us, who's a sound engineer, so he kind of worked his magic a bit. But we literally had a blast doing that because none of us knew why or how we'd managed to actually pull it off. And they were all so appreciative because obviously we'd made the long journey up from Yorkshire to, I don't remember the name of the place, but we played for like 2 hours, sweat profusely, and played 25 of our favorite kind of nerdy songs that everyone were like, why are you playing this song? But it's like, oh, it's fun or it's hard, and it was a challenge. So that always sticks out because it was just the weirdest but most enjoyable gig. I would say probably that, yeah.
So obviously the internet is quite an impactful tool that we all use now, especially in this sort of day and age that we're in now, where the whole world is shut down. How do you feel that it's not just now, but just in general, the internet has impacted on the music business, especially for getting tracks and getting out there as a band and getting bookings and such?
I think it's kind of the nature of the beast, isn't it? It's been both, the new revolution of music, but it's also probably been the biggest killer in terms of how artists make money now. Is you have to go out and play. You've got to tour and sell merch and do the things in which the most amount of money then would come back to you as an artist, rather than go to labels and tour, promoters and booking agents and stuff like that. I think it's made music a lot more accessible, for sure. You could make a song and I could do something right now and post it to everybody in 3 hours time and share it on iTunes within a couple of hours, and then all of a sudden that song is then out in the world. But
yeah,
in terms of the financial aspect of music, it's probably been the biggest killer. As much as I'm not Liam Gallagher's biggest fan, the one bit of sense I've ever heard him say was that the only thing you can do now is just play. People aren't buying albums anymore. People they want your album for free, and they want it the second it's finished. There's kind of no time spent on making sure stuff's right anymore, because all people kind of just want to get it out straight away instead. And I think that's probably been the sad side of it, is that people can throw an album together on Pro Tools in an hour and put it out, and millions of people love it. But the days of going into a studio for 6 to 8 weeks and pouring your entire being into a song is probably not that common anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's it goes both ways. It's both, as I said, it's both great for the industry, and it's a pain in the arse as well, because people are having to work harder just to do the smallest things, I guess.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. So going on a bit of a light sort of side of things, you obviously play a lot of songs. What is your favourite song to perform and why?
Favourite song to perform? It's a tough one. I kind of like songs that are hard
Mm.
because if you pull it off at the end, there's kind of there's a sweeter satisfaction that you get. If you play an easy song well, it kind of goes by the wayside, and you might not even remember doing it after. If you've got a song which is written on that set list that you're looking at going, oh god,
Mm.
how's that going to go? Then it's pretty rewarding, I guess. It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
I like playing Everlong. That's
All right,
always
yeah.
hard. That's always a hard song, especially when you've got to play it pretty fast. Low, song by Foo Fighters. A song by my old band called Hearts, which we don't play anymore, but that was a fun song to play because that was kind of one of those, magic moment things that you get as an artist where everything kind of clicks. And but now I kind of like playing other people's songs because the pressure's off a bit more, because when it's your own song, it's like, oh, I've got to live up to my own, recording or whatever. But when it's somebody else's, it's like, well, they've given you the guideline already. All you need to do is
Yeah,
play it
basically,
as
yeah.
they've done it, basically.
So
Yeah.
that's it. You sort of give your own sort of option. Yeah, I've just noticed probably been like joined by a friend. But yeah, you've got to with that sort of thing. You can. I think what makes it magic is that you can go online. You can, like you said earlier, you can create a video of a cover song in a few hours, stick it up on YouTube, and get out in that sort of way as well. But like you say, it's a guideline, so you can take one of my favourite songs to actually play on the guitar is "Tears Don't Fall" by Bullet for Valentine, which is obviously quite a heavy song.
Yeah.
But turning it into something a bit more mellow and nicer, it's just one of those things.
You can strip it back pretty well, can't you?
That's it, yeah. So, moving off of the side of the whole music, what's the most trouble you've ever gotten into?
Most trouble. I mean, I've got a brother who's 3 years younger than me, so we used to get in a daily trouble when we were kids. Most trouble I've got in. I think there's probably been a few smashed windows from footballs in neighbours' gardens over the years. My brother reminded me of this the other day. Actually, we used to fight, obviously, as brothers do. We'd have like 5-round wars in the house with, whatever we could find to get our hands on. We'd just beat the living daylights out of each other for fun, and then hug it out after and play Mario Kart. But there was a low blow on one occasion where he wasn't giving in, so I picked up a shoe and just went full launch, and it honestly, it was like slow mo. I just saw it careering towards his face and just slap bang in the middle of the face, and it made like a horrible slap noise. And at that moment, I was like, I'm gonna be slaughtered for this when parents find out. I remember that being a significant grilling. But nothing other than that really stands out. I think we're quite well behaved most of the time.
You think you are.
Yeah.
Your parents will watch this back now and after that. Ollie,
Liar.
remember the time?
Yeah.
It was like, oh.
Liar.
So everyone's always been given a bit of advice, and what sort of best advice have you ever been given?
Best advice I've been given. Other than your mother is always right, because that has yet to be wrong. I don't know. It's probably my best friend Tony is really good at giving advice. He's one of these people who he could just say something to you without even thinking about what he's saying, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, that makes perfect sense what he's just said. But it's probably just you've got to if you do what you believe in, and if you're really good at what you do, then somebody will listen eventually. It doesn't matter if you've got what it takes. You've either got it or you haven't. And if you haven't got it, then it's unfortunate. But if you work hard enough at what you do and you persevere and persist long enough to ram it down people's throats until they finally go, right, what is it? It's like, all I need you to do is listen, because whatever it is that I want you to listen to, chances are it's not that bad.
So what's next for you going forward with the music side after all this COVID-19 stuff's finally over?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get back out on the road, get back to playing and booking shows, and you know, I'm working on kind of a larger body of songs at the moment that I'll hopefully be able to release once I've been able to get into a studio and properly, you know, do proper polishing touches rather than just being in here. So yeah, that's kind of hopefully what will happen. You know, everything's up in the air in terms of when we'll be able to, you know, get back out there, and whether rescheduled shows are going to be rebooked for this year or going into next year. It's just so, as I'm sure with you is with, you know, with all your clients and stuff, is just, you don't know until the time comes nearer the time, I guess. It's just something.
Well, that's it. Because I've got bookings in June that obviously haven't been cancelled yet, and people coming for it, it's like, well, what's happening? It's like, I'm having to turn around and be like, I don't know.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Because, you know, until the government turn around and be like, right, this is what's happening, then it's still going ahead as far as I'm concerned. But yeah. Right, thank you very much for joining me today anyway, Ollie. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And if anyone wants to try and find you all out on Facebook, can they do that through the social media or Instagram or anything like that? What's the best way?
My Instagram is at Ollie Button Drummer, and I'm not 100% what the Facebook thing is. I'm pretty sure it's the same. Yeah, I think it's just Ollie Button or Ollie Drummer or something. Maybe if I send you a link, you can buy the power of technology.
I'll add that on. Yeah. I'll do the magic of adding it on.
Cool.
So, yeah. Thank you very much. So
right, brother,
no worries. I've been Ryan Paul Troy, the Yorkshire filmmaker, and I will see you next time on The Social Lockdown. Goodbye for now. All the best.